My name is Joe Peroni, and this is the Rise Above Project. And this is my new pug shirt. Do you like it? I do. Anyway, so this is going to be a two-part series. So today we're going to do 5 easy ways to ruin your life, or we can call it 5 easy ways to stay poor for the rest of your life. Now the actual show is we're going to do 10 easy ways to ruin your life. But the first 5 are going to be a little bit more towards life decisions. And the second 5, which will be another show, are going to be more about how to handle life from a psychological point of view. Now, we're going to do this in the framework of what's called paradoxical interventions. What are paradoxical interventions? What it is when a therapist will prescribe the actual problem, or they prescribe the actual symptom to the client or to the patient. Now, it doesn't seem to make sense, but you'll know what I'm talking about soon. Here's a benefit. Because if you can amplify the problem or the symptom, what you do is you prove to the client that the behavior is controllable, and you prove that it's a chosen behavior. And when we illustrate it like that, then the client will be able to see that it's possible to choose a different behavior, number 1. And number 2, that the behavior or symptom that they're experiencing is not unconscious. It's something that they can actually do something about. And sometimes it takes a big event to make them understand that this process is true. The other part of it is that we live now in a day and age where it seems like everybody is rebellious and a lot of people are oppositional. Now, I don't just say children are oppositional. I'm talking adults are becoming more and more oppositional, which means if you tell somebody what to do, if you direct them to do something, no matter how good it is, no matter how healthy, many times you get a backlash. Right? And there's no reason for a person, whether you're a therapist, clinician, I don't care, a parent even sometimes, that you need to go up against that resistance. Don't. What you do is you just go with the energy that they have. So if they're doing something that's wrong, we amplify what they're doing is wrong, and then hopefully they will see the error of their ways in that sense. And sometimes when you do this, it can actually be quite comical. And then everybody has a good laugh and everybody sees that the problem needs to go away. They need to change something. So I'll give you a quick example. As a personal trainer, let's say I might tell someone who wants to lose weight that for breakfast they need to eat 1 apple a day. And after a month they may come back to me and they'll say, you know, it didn't work. And I'll say, what didn't work? What did you do? And they'll say, well, every morning for breakfast I eat 2 donuts. I'm like, well, that's nothing what I told you to do. So if I tell them to eat an apple again, we're back in the same position. They're going to deny, they're going to defend, they're going to justify whatever they're doing to say that they need to eat 2 donuts. And what they'll say is, oh, it tastes so good, it's sweet, it makes me feel good, it's just part of my life, it's unconscious, I just do it, I don't know about it, I can't help it. So I say, okay, that's all right. Let's just move in that direction then. So for the next part of the diet, what we'll do is every morning for breakfast, I say an apple, you want to eat the 2 donuts, and that's your thing. You've made a consistent effort to do that. Let's eat 3, because if you like them so much, let's go with 3. Now, they might do it, but then they're going to gain weight, and they're going to realize what they were doing was wrong. But more often than not, what they're going to do is they're going to look at me like I'm crazy and say, well, isn't that wrong? I'm like, well, no, you're fighting for the right to do this. So let's just do it your way. We'll just amplify it to get to the end result a lot quicker. So that's what a paradoxical intervention is. There's 1,000 ways I can show that to you, but I don't want to bore you. So let's just get into the show. We're already 4 minutes in. So I'm going to try to keep this short today. So again, back to the beginning. For today, 5 easy ways to ruin your life or to stay in perpetual poverty. So number 1, very, very important. Please, to the best of your ability, have a no-care attitude about school. Like, you don't want to be curious about anything. You don't want to learn anything. That's for nerds. Like, don't do that. You want to be as ignorant as possible because that's what the cool people do, right? Cool people are ignorant, so just go in that direction. You know, like if you're on the computer today, you're doing something, don't look up something where you could learn something. Don't go on TV and watch a documentary. Screw that. Don't watch anything that might be of importance. You know, just like play video games, read comic books, do something stupid like that. Maybe watch a couple of hacker movies, a couple of stabbing movies, the things like that that can really add some brain power to you. Do something like that. Now, here's the end goal of that, is that do not get a high school diploma. That you don't want. High school diplomas are bad, right? Because what we want to do here is we want to make sure we always have something to complain about. Because look at this, over a lifetime, you will be able to make $1.4 million less than an educated person. Think about that. Now that's a good goal, because you don't want $1.4 million. You know how much money that is? Listen, you're going to have to go through all these extra decisions. You're probably going to have to get an accountant. Ugh. You're going to have to maybe pay taxes. Who wants to do all those things? Plus, if you have an extra $1.4 million, what's going to happen is people will probably like you more. And then you probably have to sift through all these people that actually, think you're a competent person. But you don't want to do that. Please don't do that. Plus, if you have $1.4 million, you can't complain about rich people being jerks all the time. And that'll take that away from you. So what that'll do is it'll put the responsibility on you. But we don't want that, because we don't want to look at ourselves. Again, no heart and soul, no tough thoughts. We want to be able to blame rich people for our problems. And you can do that, no problem. Don't get a high school diploma. Now, if you don't get a high school diploma, you're more than twice as likely to be unemployed too, which that could be a very good thing. Because think about it, you're going to have more time to sleep, and sleep is a good thing. The only problem is you probably won't be able to afford a house, probably not be able to afford an apartment either. So you're going to do most of your sleeping on a park bench. But the good thing about that is nature. Nature's kind of nice, so that's a good thing. And if you have a friend, you might be able to sit on the couch and you can have a lot more free time to watch TV. So listen, there's a lot of positives here. So let's go on to number 2 on how to ruin your life or to stay poor. Again, very important. In order to do this, you want to put yourself in the best possible position to go to prison. Now again, it goes to the first one. If you don't have a high school diploma, you're 63 times more likely to go to prison. So if that's your stepping stone, go with that. It's really good. Now think about this. If you get a Bachelor of Science degree or you get an actual skill, the chances of going to jail are only 0.1%. What does that mean? It means that there's almost nobody in prison who has an education. So by all means, be as ignorant as possible. So you want to increase those chances to go to jail. As a matter of fact, if you get a high school diploma, you're 6 times more likely to go to prison also than a person who doesn't have a degree. So again, that actually moves up your chances. So I don't know if you want to do that. Maybe you want to keep with the 63 times more likely to go to prison. So that's a personal decision. I'll let you handle that. Now, another way to do this. You know what? No, let me go back a little bit. I want to tell you about prison, because I think there's some things in prison that are worthwhile. First of all, prison can be good, because you get your meals for free, you get a free roof over your head, and you don't have to worry about fashion. You don't have to worry about, if wearing a pug shirt is a cool thing or not. Because pretty much you get to wear the same colors every day, and you get to hang out with your friends who are probably like-minded people who are just as uneducated as you. So that's not a bad thing. The only other thing is, though, and you probably, as long as you don't have any guilt, because it's people like me that pay taxes, they're going to have to pay for your food and your clothes and the roof over your head. So if that doesn't bother you, then by all means, just continue in that direction. So again, if you want to ruin your life more, let's go to the next one. Single parenthood is an amazingly great way to stay poor for the rest of your life and to destroy it. Now, if you get a college degree, only 2% of women are single mothers who have a college degree. So again, if you see a college, drive past it. Don't go anywhere near that college. If you're watching TV and you see a commercial about the University of Phoenix or some other college, or even if you're watching college football and you see all these kids in the stands who, they're gonna have good jobs one day, just turn that off. You don't want to be inspired by colleges in any way if you want to stay poor for the rest of your life and you want to ruin it. So again, just stay away from college. So single parenthood, how can it best be achieved? See, this is a really good one here because it can actually be achieved with some pleasure. You ready? Think about it. So, all you have to do is have as much unprotected sex as possible. That's easy. And make sure it's unprotected because not just getting pregnant, but you want to increase your chances of getting diseases too, which will really ruin your life if that's the position you want to go. So there's a couple of tricks to this, okay? Unprotected sex is just the first part. The real important part to that is this. You want to make sure that the person you're having sex with is non-educated. You want to make sure that they're unemployed. You want to make sure that they're addicted to drugs. You want to make sure that they're abusive and maybe a violent felon. And make sure it's a person who's totally and completely allergic to personal responsibility. And that's how you do it. Now, if you're looking for Mr. Right, the Mr. Perfect guy, if you want to be a single parent, pick a guy who as soon as he comes, he goes. I think you understand what I'm saying. Now, if you want to be a single parent and you're a male, it's a little bit harder, but you're really going to have to double down on having unprotected sex with a person who's a drug addict that has absolutely nothing going. Because the way the legal system works these days, it's really hard to pry the kid from the mother. So you're really going to have to go for the bottom line person, a person who actually has nothing going on for them at that moment. So that's how you do that if you're a male. If that's your thing and you want to try to ruin your life or be in poverty for the rest of your life, that's what you would do. So now, number 4 on our list. Now, I'm going to ask you to do some difficult things here. Number 4 actually is hard to do because you have to be very dedicated, you have to be very consistent over a long period of time. Now, what you need to do is, again, persistence, resilience. Think about it in terms of a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder, if you want to be one, you have to probably work out 5 to 6 times a week over a period of years. You have to eat the right foods, good, nutritious, wholesome foods. Every day, probably 6 meals per day for years. You have to do cardiovascular activity. You have to get enough sleep. Consistency over a period of time. A religious dedication in the same direction for as long as it takes. Okay, this is what I'm asking you to do. You ready? So number 4 on how to ruin your life and to stay in perpetual poverty is to be the best alcoholic and drug addict that you can. And again, this takes consistency because I'm not just asking you to get drunk on a Saturday night. I'm asking you to ruin your life on a consistent basis. And you have to spend the money that you don't have. And if you don't have any money at all, you're gonna have to sell your body to get the drugs and alcohol. So this really compounds the situation, so it really puts you down that situation to be successful at being not successful, right? So it's gonna cost you a lot of money. It's gonna destroy probably all your relationships and make anybody who's ever cared about you, you're gonna hurt them to the core. But you need to be okay with that, to keep going in that direction. You need to rise above. You know, don't don't let a bunch of people in your life and their hearts breaking because you're hurting yourself. Don't let that stop you. You know, keep being consistent and determined to be a good alcoholic or drug addict. It's got some positives too, because what will happen is when you're ruining your life, you can blame the drugs, you can blame the alcohol. You don't have to blame your own decisions. You don't have to get into the heart and soul of who you are and what you think and why you're not making the right decisions. You know why? Because you can blame the alcohol. It's that liquid in a bottle that jumps off the shelf, uncorks itself, and sticks itself down your throat. That's the problem. And the same thing with pills. Those sneaky little pills, all they do is they pry your jaw open, and then what happens, they just start jumping down your mouth. Listen, I get it. We've all been there. Have we? Yeah, we've all been there. So it's not your fault. It's the drug's fault, right? So we get to blame that. We don't have to take any responsibility. Look, that's the beauty of it. And there's so many other good things about being a drug addict. Think about it like this. So in almost every city in America, they have AA meetings. And I hear they're really fun to go to. And you can go there to meet like-minded people, just like yourself. That sounds good. I mean, I don't think that that's a terrible thing. You could have meetings on Friday, Saturday, whatever time you want. You can have a big party. It's good. And, you know, so meetings are fun. So let's move on. Number 5. And this will be the last one for today because the other 5 will be on another time. Again, extremely, extremely important. Do not get a job. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't want a job because I don't have a lot of education and I don't have a lot of skill. So I'm not going to get paid a lot. So think of it like this. It's better to get paid no money than it is to get paid a little bit of money, right? That's what I hear. Listen, I can't tell you how many people I've done therapy with over the years that have a couple of kids at home, a wife at home or a girlfriend at home, and she's pregnant. And I'll hear a guy say, well, I want to be around for my girlfriend more. You know, I want to be there when the kid's born. I want to bond with my kid. I'm like, yeah, but you're 4 months behind on your rent. Oh, but I can't get a job. I don't want to be disrespected there. Listen, you can bond with your kid, no problem. But the problem is you're going to bond with them in the gutter somewhere or some park, right? And instead of eventually down the road maybe playing catch, you know, with a tennis ball, you're going to be rolling a beer bottle back and forth. Okay, but we're not thinking, right? So listen, do not get a job because there's certain things that jobs do. Even if you work at a low-level job, you don't want that because you're going to gain experience. And with experience, you get skills. And with those skills, you can go to a better job. But don't do that because you just want to get the money that a heart surgeon has now, or someone, an epidemiologist for that matter. Anybody. You want to be a lawyer in one day, but don't worry about that. Don't start at the bottom. Don't start at all. Just stay where you are. The other thing is if you get a job like that, you're going to meet people. And a lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you can develop contacts, and these contacts can help you get better jobs. But you don't do that. It also will build up your self-esteem, and you'll learn how to talk to people. And then people will want to be around you. And if you're good and you're nice and you're caring and people like you, they'll give you a chance. But don't do that because don't expect other people to give you a chance because you don't want to give yourself a chance. So screw it. Just stay where you are. There's a lot of good and positive things that are beneficial about not having a job. Think about it. You get to save gas money. You get to stay home all the time. Listen, gas is like $4 per gallon. You don't want to drive anywhere. Plus, you probably don't have a car anyway. So even to take a bus, that just takes too much time. We don't want to do that. So stay at home. It's fine. Think about this too. You'll have a lot more free time on your hands. You'll have a lot more free time to do drugs. Hey, who wouldn't want to do that? You'll also have a lot more time to play video games. And you'll have a lot more time to play with yourself. Why? Because when you're not valuable and you don't care about yourself, eventually you're just going to be by yourself, and so you might as well take advantage of that. So that could be a good thing. So, going back to the drugs. Listen, drug addicts are very consistent, and they make a concerted effort to reach their goal of becoming a burden on everybody in their life and everybody in society. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Don't be a quitter. Keep going in that direction if that's what you need to do. So I hope you liked today's show. Now, just to finish this up, if you thought that some of the things I said were offensive, if you thought that some of the things I said were ridiculous, demeaning, if you thought they were unproductive and not a good way to talk about people, I want you to consider this. Think about how many people fight for the right every day to do all of the, I was going to say curse here, I'm trying to keep this clean. Think about how many people do the most stupid things day after day after day in their life, and they fight for the right to do it. I have had thousands of hours working with people, and they will fight for the right to get that last drop of alcohol or that pill, or I don't care, they have no money in the bank, and yet they're still having unprotected sex with people they don't know. And so we're allowed to bring it up, aren't we? If you want to stay out of poverty, honestly, you don't have to do that much. Number one, get a high school diploma. That's number one. At least that. Get a full-time job. And don't have a child unless you have a partner that's going to help you. Preferably, make sure you have this child after you're 22 years old. Why do the numbers bear this out? Because at 22, you would be just graduating from college. And don't you dare tell me that college is too expensive. The average person that has a Bachelor of Science degree makes about $2 million more lifetime than a person without one. That's a lot more money. And you know what? Everybody qualifies for a student loan. So I don't want to hear it. Hopefully today's show was valuable to you. I'm Joe Peroni. If you like it, great. Hit a like on it, and please send it to some people. Thank you.